What's up, everybody? I hope everyone's having a good day. I hope you're making productive use of your time. I hope you're taking care of yourselves and that you're all well and staying well, and all of your families and peoples and friends and everyone are staying well. I hope you're staying safe. Hope you're making good use of your time, learning new things, flexing creative muscles, and enjoying this Sunday.
Don't you know it? Don't you know it? Don't you know it? Don't you know it? Sunday!
All right. What we are going to be doing today is we're going to be digging into some old templates and just in general looking out for our future. We want to come in and create quickly. We want to maybe open up a new session and drop in a template, so to speak, a template of drums, a template of voice, a template of whatever, and just drop it into a new session. We're going to do that today using a creative case, a creative setup in the new Pro Tools 2020 folder tracks feature that they just recently put out. It's probably the coolest update to the software they've come out with in years, I would say. Lots of other DAWs are doing this. This isn't, I wouldn't say, a new concept to a lot of people, but to be able to do it in Pro Tools, to be able to nest tracks within folders, routing folders, or just basic folders is a really awesome thing. So we're going to create some nested folders within our template so that when we load up this template in the future, we don't have to do that. It's already done, right? So that's what we're going to do for today. I've got our drums loaded here. So pretty cool. And what we're going to do is do our normal sort of setup for the drum folders. So I've just been getting into the habit of creating a new drum aux. So I'm just going to call that drum aux 2. And I'm going to go ahead and take all of my, and see, this is even just going to the output. That's not even routed correctly to an output. So all of these are routed to the 1112, which it looks like is, where's that going? How am I even hearing that? No, it's just bus 1 and 2. Bus 1 and 2 and going into the drum aux. But I'm actually going to create a drum aux folder routing track, routing folder, and I'm going to route everything to that. So to do that, I'm just going to highlight all the tracks that I want to create within a routing folder. I'm going to hit move to new folder. I'm going to say this is a routing folder, and I've already renamed the current drum aux something else so that I can just call this most appropriately drum aux. And I'm going to route tracks to the new folder. So it's going to create a new routing setup, a new in and out setup in the busing channels to be able to do that. So I just hit create and it's all done. And it's all set up on the drum aux. So I'll color this the way I normally do. In fact, all of these are going to be that color, and that's going to be, that color. So there we have it. And then this guy doesn't have, it just has a bus. And what is this? This is a drum reverb, which I guess is pretty cool. We could keep this on here. But ultimately, I'm just going to route the I'm just going to route, what am I trying to say? I'm just going to route the drum aux to this input instead of using the bus channel. So I'm going to free up that bus. So we're going to say that's just coming in from the drum aux as well. Nice. Cool. Yeah, I like the way that sounds, definitely. So that is sounding nice. We'll say that's going to sit at a volume of about 9. There we go. And then this aux is now freed up. We don't have anything else being used by 5 and 6. No, that's it. That is it. So 5, 6 is freed up. We can nuke that. That's done. And then we're going to keep the drum reverb here. We're going to get rid of that because we no longer need it. So we can free up 1 and 2 as well. Good. So that's freed up. And then what we're going to do is, let's see. Yeah, 1 and 2 is no longer being used. So I'm going to set both of these to 1 and 2. There we go. Using a little shortcut I like to call Alt Shift. So that applies that change to all of these selected tracks. So I select the tracks that I want, and then I apply that change. Right? That's what I do. So that's easy enough to take care of. And now we need to make sure to route that using number 1 and 2. So that reverb channel should still be getting some audio. Very good. And nice and clean. Everything's cleaned up. We're making some space in all our buses. We've got that set up on 1 and 2. We're also going to go ahead and set up our trusty parallel drum compression. And we're going to go ahead and set up our, what should we say, our basic folder to kind of group everything in. So we'll start with the parallel compression. And I'm actually not going to set up any compression. I like to kind of do that on a mix by mix basis because I like to get better at it. I like to make it specific to that song and not, try not to use any preset settings or templated settings that I have, so I don't like to think that I'm going to know how the drums are going to sound best for any particular song. I like to figure it out as I go. That's just me personally. A lot of people mix that way as well, but also a lot of people use templates as well. There might be advantages to using both. Tell me what you think. You know what I mean? Tell me if you guys use templates more than creating your own sounds. But I'm going to create my own sounds. So in the template, I'm just going to load up, and I'm going to use these 2 channels, and I'm going to hold down Alt and Shift, right? And I'm just going to load up the CLA Mix Hub, because that's what I've been really enjoying to use to come up with a great drum mix or to come up with a great parallel drum compression setting. That's what I like to use. So I've been using the CLA Mix Hub. Here it is, set up. It's not routed to any particular buckets or anything like that. I'm not going to worry about that. It's set up on the drum aux. It's set up on the parallel drum compression. And the drum aux, I'm just going to drop down to just based on experience, I'm just going to make a move here. I'm going to drop it down to a volume of 3, and I'm going to drop the parallel drum compression to a volume of about 6. And this just reminds me that I tend to favor the original sound over the really super compressed parallel compression sound, but I do like to mix in the parallel compression a tad bit hot as well. So that's just a setting that I typically use. And what I actually tend to do is I actually get a really nice compression sound that I like, and then start at 0 and then have, the drum aux going, and then basically come up using my ears, and I close my eyes and I come up and figure out the sound that sounds the best. You know what I mean? I figure out what's too much, what's too little, and I figure out that sweet spot in the middle. And it tends to, just for whatever reason, it tends to be at around, you know, -6 dB a lot of the time. So I'll just set it that way to remind myself this is how I'm doing it. And that's it. That's all my drum channels. I've got a nice nested folder for all my audio channels. It's all set up so that as soon as I drop this into any session and hit record, you know what I mean? I'm ready to record. That's the point. That's the point. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as a drum folder. So I'm going to select all my drum tracks, and I'm just going to set this as I'm just going to move this to a basic folder. I'm going to say new folder. This is a basic folder, and I'm going to call this Abbey Road 60s drums. Just like the template session, but this is a template just for the track. And this is the cool thing about this, is that I'm gonna not route all these, but I'm just gonna group all this stuff into a basic folder that I can then collapse, easy enough, right? But this is my template that I can just drop into any session, bang, and my drums are routed, they're set up. All these are input monitored, and I can come right in and I can start recording drums. And that's the point. That's what I want to get to very quickly, is just the ability to come in and record drums. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the routing for this properly. Since I didn't do that, I'm going to put the mix of the drums from the drum aux into the parallel compression channel as well. So that's running. That's ready to go. So now here comes the fun part. Here's where we'll take our gem for the day, our knowledge clip of the day, is that in Pro Tools 2020, we have routing tracks. We have folder tracks, right? They're basic folders and routing folders, right? This is a basic folder. So there's no audio metering. There's no nothing. You can tell when there's audio events and MIDI events happening, but you really have to expand it out to see what everything is and what all is happening. But I'm setting all this up within a folder, since what I can do now is go right click, save track preset. And since this is a folder, I can include all member tracks. This is the genius part of it, because then we can say this is a track preset that includes, bang, all my drum setup. My KONTAKT channels, my audio channels, my aux channels, the plugins I want to use, the routing, everything's done. And then, you know, I can just get ready to go. So I'm going to wait. Before I do this, I'm going to go ahead and route these to the drum, to the actual drum channel on this template, since I want to use this template correctly in the future. So that's fine. I'm going to take these 3 channels and I'm going to route these to number 21 and 22, the lucky channel, which is the drum channel. And then I can record that and get ready to hear it on the drum channel. And that's good. So, okay, now it's ready. Now it's set up. I'm going to expand these out. We're ready to go. And I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this as a track preset. So again, once again, our knowledge gem clip of the day. In Pro Tools 2020, we have our folder tracks. We have our browsing, our routing tracks, our folder tracks. This is a basic folder track. And I'm going to save this track preset and include all the member tracks so that I can just bring this into a new session in the future, and it's ready to go, right? So I'm going to say KONTAKT drums, Native Instruments, that's fine. Abbey Road. I can't type today. Drums. And, you know, you can save tags in here so that you can search for those kinds of tags when you're looking for stuff. We'll do that in another episode, how to look for stuff. But for now, include all member tracks, because then we can bang, spit this into a new session. So, okay. That is saved as a track preset. Now I'm going to make sure I saved it in the right place. I saved it in the Avid folder. I actually want to save this in the user and drums folder. That's where I want to save this. So include all member tracks. Make sure you're saving in the right place. Make sure you create a place for you to save stuff. I created a folder called user and created some categories for myself. So that's where I want to save this. And that's in. That is done. Right? Now what we're going to do is open up a brand new session, and I'll show you just dropping this right into the session so that we're ready to record in seconds. All right, so what we're going to do is we have our new session loaded up here. As you can see, we have no drums going on in this session. And say, I just want to drop in some drums. I want to drop in that Abbey Road drums preset that I created the other day. You know, I just created this a few minutes ago, but we're role playing here. I want to drop this right into my new session and start playing some drums right now. So I'm going to go ahead and say my Command Shift N on a Mac, right? We're creating a new track, but instead of one of these track options, I'm going to go into track presets, go into my user folder that I created for drums, and I'm going to choose Abbey Road 60s drums. As you can see, I've already got another one where I was learning how to do this using the GGD P4 drums as well. So I'm going to use the Abbey Road 60s drums, create. And bang, we have our drums. They're loaded right in here. We're ready to go. We are ready to go. And just like that. So I'm going to route my audio just a little bit different so that I'm not hitting the drum aux within the drum folder. So give me just one moment here. All right, there we go. So now we're not hitting the drum aux with any audio. And this is just using bus 1 and 2, yeah, for the Abbey Road plates. So, you know, hope those don't have anything else going on because, you know, they're being used. Let's go ahead and make these a little bit smaller. And let's get ready to play. Need to input monitor those tracks. And as you can see, we can't hear these drums because they're not routed to anything, but we do have audio going on. So all we need to do is fix the outputs for this particular session. This is just going to go to output 1 and 2 so that we can hear what we have going on. And there we go. And we're ready to go in just a couple of minutes, right? And that's the point. That's what we want to do is just get in here and get ready to go, get creative right away. Boom, we're ready to go. So really, really cool stuff. Really, really awesome that we have this capability within the new version of Pro Tools. And we've done what we came to do for today. We've looked out for our future. We've made ourselves more possibly creative very easily. And that's all we got for Sunday. Until next time.